So, you're thinking about trying the carnivore diet, but you're not quite sure where to begin. Well, today, we're going to cut right through all the noise. This is a simple, no-nonsense beginner's guide based on the advice of Dr. Anthony Chaffee. Let's just get right into it. Okay, let's just start with the single most important idea that strips away all the complexity right from the get-go. Dr. Chaffee boils the entire diet down to this one simple sentence, and this is the foundation for everything that comes next. You eat meat, you drink water, that's it. So, with that super simple idea locked in, let's build out the foundation. First things first, what exactly should you be eating? I mean, just look at how short this list is. The absolute essentials are just three things: fatty meat, water, and then salt to your own taste. And the key word here, you really got to remember this, is fatty. On this way of eating, fat is your main source of fuel, and it's what's going to keep you feeling full and satisfied. A really common question is, do I have to eat things like liver or kidneys? And according to Dr. Chaffee, the answer is a simple no. They're optional. Yeah, they're incredibly nutrient dense, but he makes a good point that muscle meat gives you everything you need, and you can actually overdo it with organs. So hey, if you like them, eat them in moderation. If you don't even worry about it. All right, now let's get to what Dr. Chaffee says is probably the most important part of this whole thing. It's actually less about what you do eat and more about what you strictly avoid. These are the three hard rules. And here they are. These are the non-negotiables, the cornerstones of the whole deal. Number 1, no plants. Of any kind, period. Number 2, no sugar, in any form. And number 3, nothing artificial. That means no artificial sweeteners, no colors, no preservatives. It is a total clean sweep. And this is where it gets real, because these rules apply to everything. We're not just talking about the steak on your plate. You have to start thinking about sauces, a lot of seasonings, and of course, your drinks. This is where those hidden sugars and plant-based ingredients can so easily trip you up. So let's take a perfect example. What about honey? People think, well, it's an animal product, right? But hold on. Dr. Chaffee's breakdown is crystal clear. It comes from plant nectar, and it is crazy high in fructose. We're talking even higher than high fructose corn syrup. So it violates both the no plants and the no sugar rules. On the other side, you've got meat. Simple. An animal product, no sugar. That's how you apply the rules. You know, following these rules, it really requires a huge mental shift. This next part is all about unlearning all those old complicated habits from other diets and really adopting a brand new mindset. And the mindset shift really boils down to this contrast right here. On the left, you've got the old way of doing things, constantly counting calories, worrying about portion sizes, forcing yourself to fast. And on the right, you have the carnivore approach, which is just instinctive. You eat when you're hungry and you stop when you're full. That's it. This quote from Dr. Chaffee just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. The whole point is to ditch the spreadsheets and the tracking apps and just get back to trusting your body's own natural signals. If your diet is that complicated, you're probably eating the wrong stuff. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what happens when you step into the real world? Let's talk about the common pitfalls, those practical hurdles that pretty much every beginner is going to face. Dr. Chaffee points out 3 major sticking points that can really derail people. First, there's that feeling, that pressure to be absolutely perfect from day one. Second, just figuring out how to handle social situations. And third, a really big one for a lot of people, alcohol. For that first point about trying to be perfect, the advice is so simple and forgiving. If you slip up, it's not the end of the world. It's not a failure. You just start again with your very next meal. In fact, Dr. Chaffee even says those moments can be valuable because they often just remind you of how much better you feel when you're sticking to it. So what's this 3 weeks all about? Well, this is about alcohol. Its impact can be so much bigger than most of us realize. Dr. Chaffee comes from a background as a high-level athlete, and he noticed that after just one night of drinking, it could take his body up to 3 weeks to get back to peak performance. That's a serious setback to think about. And this brings us to our final and maybe the most important point of all. None of this works unless you learn to listen to your body again. It's all about tapping into that guide that you already have built right in. So, the most important signal to relearn is when to stop eating. And it's not about feeling stuffed or uncomfortably full. The real signal is so much simpler. It's that moment when the food you're eating just stops tasting good. That second, a bite starts to feel like a chore, that is your body telling you, hey, we're done here. Now, this chart gives you a super practical, real-time tool for tweaking your fat intake, just by using your body's own feedback. As Dr. Chaffee explains, if things are hard and dry, you probably need more fat. If they're loose, you've likely had a bit too much. And if everything is soft and normal, well, you are right in that sweet spot. It's a simple, direct feedback loop, no calculator required. And this quote just perfectly sums up the entire philosophy. The whole approach is built on getting rid of the things that mess with our natural biology, and then just trusting that our body's own innate wisdom will take over from there. So we'll end with this one last thought to chew on. It's a really powerful idea that kind of wraps up this entire way of eating. What if getting healthier isn't about adding more complication, more tracking, and more rules? What if it's actually about subtraction and finally learning to trust your body's own instincts again?